Hello everyone, and welcome to the story of Arknights. In today's episode, we're going to cover episode 4 of the main theme, that is also the first part of its Act 1, Shatter of a Vision, called Burning Run. Let's begin. 8:36 PM. Rainy. Visibility 12 kilometers. Rhodes Island. Amiya and Doctor have just returned from Lungmen after the confrontation with Misha. Calcit heard about everything that happened and checks the rings on Amiya's fingers. After Amiya leaves to rest in her room, she harshly lectures Doctor to never put her at such risk again and that he isn't properly taking care of her, seeing her being clearly distraught by the recent events. Doctor tries to improve the situation and visits Amiya in her room. The girl is shaken by having to make sacrifices in order to reach Rhodes Island's goals and is tired by it. Doctor tries to console her, but she simply thanks him for caring and asks for some time alone. The next day, new objectives arrive in the Lungmen operation. First, a detached, ruined pneumatic plate, referred to as Satellite City, that used to be part of Chernobog, has been found north of Lungmen and needs to be investigated. Second, Penguin Logistics wishes to meet up with Amiya to discuss the situation in Lungmen slums. After Amiya leaves to prepare, Calcit scolds Doctor for not being able to console Amiya and reveals some information about the rings on her fingers. They are related to her state of health, and exertion put on Amiya in combat may cause them to discolor or crack, so Doctor needs to check them after any intense battles and report changes immediately. In the meantime, a recon squad has been sent to the Satellite City ruins. It consists of Meteorite, a Sarkas sniper operator of RI, Frostleaf, a Vulpo operator of RI, and Jessica, a feline Black Seal operator stationed at Rhodes Island as part of an exchange training program. The time is 6:03 PM. Overcast. Visibility 19 kilometers. Desert by Lungmen, facility number 14. Several other recon squads have also been deployed, but we're going to focus on this one. Their objective is to assess the situation in the Satellite City, that is, to check for Chernobog survivors and possible reunion forces. They briefly talk about the recent operations and about Jessica's assessment by Franca, describing her as competent but very timid. After that, they move in. We then move back to Amiya and Doctor, who are meeting with Exusia and Texas, who are accompanied by Franca and Liscorm. Both Penguin Logistics and Black Steel operators are saying temporary farewell to the Rhodes Island's leaders, as Penguin Logistics are going on a break and Black Steel members have been instructed to go back to their HQ. After the goodbyes, Amiya wishes to go visit the Lungmen slums. Doctor is hesitant to let her go alone, but she assures them another Rhodes Island operator, Project Red, will be present there as well. Back to the Recon Squad, they have encountered reunion forces and are just finishing a fight with them. They contact Calcit, who informs them that Project Red has found no reunion activity in the Lungmen slums right now, and based on intel from other recon squads, the Satellite City is likely to have a fairly substantial number of reunion troops. She then instructs them to continue investigating with caution. Frostleaf notices that the temperature is dropping, prompting her to investigate the surroundings, only to find a wall with heat-absorbing properties. She becomes worried as she heard some rumors about the so-called Yetis back before she joined Rhodes Island. In the slums, Amiya encounters an infected child and helps them out by lifting some rubble so they can recover a broken recorder, and then gives them some food. Seeing how lively the child is, she is overcome by sorrow and is lost deep in thought about the infected and her goals. She is doubting herself, and a voice inside of her is feeding off of it, telling her nothing but death, famine, and persecution wait for the infected, that she's one of the lucky few being in Rhodes Island and the company can't achieve anything, and to let her rage consume her. Amiya resists, saying she made a promise to her, not disclosing who that might be. After getting out of that thought spiral, Amiya notices a little girl and a woman in the distance. As she gets closer, she realizes it's Chen, talking with an infected girl. The girl gives her a doll in a manner resembling Misha. Amiya walks up to them, surprised. Chen says it's none of her concern and this is Lungmen's business, which she will take care of. Amiya knows to herself she has never seen a look in her eyes like that before. Meanwhile, in Rhodes Island, Doctor returns alone and Calcid instructs him to better prepare to say the things he couldn't before once Amiya returns. When she does, she seems to have a clearer direction, mostly rid of the doubts from before, though still a bit confused. Clearly, seeing Chen care for the infected of Lungmen has reinvigorated her beliefs. Doctor tries to comfort her a bit again and help her understand her thoughts, but she says she doesn't need comforting, and while the guilt of sacrifices will never leave her, she now realizes she must keep moving forward with Doctor. The conversation ends when Calcid receives a call. The situation took a turn for the worse. The Recon squad is hiding away from reunion troops, only these are dressed heavier than the usual thugs, not to mention the temperature is dropping again. After they leave, the squad investigates and finds another wall covered with ice and a black originium chunk that is most likely responsible for heat absorption. It would seem the reunion forces were conducting some experiments with it just now or planting it there for some reason. Frostleaf once again mentions the Yetis. She gives more details this time. There was a rumor circulating around when she was still an independent mercenary about a group of infected conducting guerrilla warfare in northwest Ursus, among which present was a towering monster, crushing every opponent in its way. Among them, there was a squad that could freeze the very ground underneath them, known as the Yeti Squadron. Frostleaf thinks they might be facing exactly that squadron. They move deeper into the ruined city, believing they may find Reunion's base soon. When they get closer, they begin to smell something burning. Amiya meets up with Chen and Hoshiguma to discuss the recent findings. In Lungmen, evidence of Reunion planning attacks has been found, while in the Chernobog satellite city, there were barely any residents found, but Reunion forces were. Amiya proposes a joint operation with LGD to eliminate the remaining Reunion forces in Lungmen, but Chen disagrees, believing infected operators of Rhodes Island carrying out more operations in the slums will cause greater disorder. At that moment, Amiya gets a call for help from Jessica, and the action moves to her squad. They found the Reunion base in Facility Number 14, where two Reunion leaders, W and Mephisto, are talking. They taunt each other for a while, clearly not being on very good terms. After a bit of arguing, they talk about a mysterious person that they refer to as Old Flag Waver or Old Timer, saying he's out to get some important objective. W also makes fun of Mephisto for freeing him. Suddenly, Mephisto baits Rhodes Island, saying he knows they're here. This causes Jessica to panic and shoot at the commanders, revealing the Recon squad's position. Mephisto is surprised they were actually there. It was a trap. Reunion troops launch an attack but are dispatched by the squad. However, Mephisto uses his arts, which causes dust to fall from the sky and heal the fallen soldiers while taking over their mind. Meteorite shoots an explosive at a building to make it fall and they try to retreat. The temperature starts decreasing, signaling that the Yetis are also here. Frostleaf contacts Amiya again and says not to come. Amiya gets multiple calls from several other Recon squads, all asking for backup as they're being attacked. Calcid also calls her and asks Chen how long Lungmen is going to keep playing dumb. Chen answers she's gonna pretend she didn't hear that, but agrees the situation needs immediate action. Amiya and the LGD start getting ready to go to the satellite city. Calcid discloses that rescue squads have already been dispatched, but Meteorite's squad is too deep to reach, and Amiya will have to go back them up personally. When the joint forces arrive, they notice how ruined the place is. Amiya says that it is played detached before the catastrophe hit Chernobog, and its destruction most likely happened after arriving at its current location. While they're talking, Chen briefly notices Tallulah. Shocked at this sight, she follows her into a side street. When Hoshiguma realizes sure enough, they are confronted by well-equipped Reunion forces and can't give chase. Once they are defeated, Chen is nowhere to be found. Rhodes Island decides they will pursue her alone as she enters deeper parts of the city that have high originium density. Hoshiguma agrees, and the LGD stays on the perimeter to keep watch for possible Reunion backup. In the meantime, a Rhodes Island medic from one of the rescue squads contacts Calcid and reveals that all the Recon squads except for Meteorites have been recovered but suffered from frostbite of varying severity. Calcit relays the info to Amiya's squad and sets out on her own mission. She contacts Project Red and sets up a meeting with her at an entrance to the Lungmen slums, saying just the two of them will handle reunion just fine. At the same time, Amiya's rescue squad is intercepted by yet another reunion group. After defeating them, they finally reach Chen, who defeated quite a few reunion troops as well on her own. Chen apologizes for losing herself and risking the mission's success and agrees to retreat to Hoshiguma's position. Amiya's squad moves in deeper alone. When they get close to the center of the ruined city, they too notice a smell of something burning. Suddenly, a group of reunion casters ambush them, but are quickly dispatched by a surprise attack from Frostleaf. She says she was trying to make the reunion forces follow her and get further from Meteorite and Jessica's position. She then leads the rescue squad to them. When they reach them, Jessica is seemingly traumatized by something she saw and thus unable to operate. Amiya shows the secret ability of her art to enter and alter minds, shares her pain and eases her mind from the inside. Frostleaf is very surprised at this skill of hers, to which Amiya tells her to keep it a secret from Calcit. Jessica recovers quickly, but at that moment Mephisto arrives, looking for Rhodes Island. The operatives hide, so he starts talking about the satellite city. The people that lived in this part of Chernobog were quick to act in the face of reunion's uprising and detached the plate from the nomadic city in order to avoid a catastrophe. However, reunion eventually caught up to them in this desert and punished them by turning them into what Mephisto refers to as an effigy of terror, a proclamation of purging injustices against the infected and symbol of reunion. He then orders his men to light the so-called effigy up. The smell of something burning, or rather burning flesh, now makes total sense. Jessica is once again scared of the sight, and on the other hand, seeing this, Amiya's resolve increases even more, and she initiates an offensive against reunion troops. They are quickly broken through. Those not defeated get out of the way as they don't want to get healed by Mephisto and get possessed by his arts. Just when Frostleaf is about to attack him, temperature drops again and her feet get frozen to the ground. Frostnova, another reunion commander, appears. She says she should have left Mephisto back in the tundra to freeze to death like the psychopath he is, but for now, she focuses her attention on Rhodes Island, proclaiming she will give them a painless death. Frostleaf tells everyone to retreat without her, but Amiya is not going to have anyone sacrifice again. Doctor orders an all-out attack against the Yeti Squadron to save Frostleaf, who's completely unable to move by now. Amiya casts her mind-altering incantations, making some of the reunion troops think they're either on fire or freezing. This causes enough destruction for Meteorite to start pushing forward. At that moment, Frostnova starts singing, which activates her arts. More black ice crystals appear, and they start falling on the ground, freezing it and eroding everything around. Rhodes Island manages to break through Yeti Squadron's formation, but Frostnova starts absorbing all the ice and heat from the surroundings to unleash a wave of coldness. Frostleaf, with the last bit of her strength, interrupts the cast with a swing of her axe, which creates an opening big enough for Meteorite to charge in and rescue her as Amiya finds a planted Originium shard and breaks it, unleashing the cold from it and creating haze, which Rhodes Island uses to retreat immediately. As Frostnova is standing in the thick haze, a large figure appears behind her. The tall man starts praising Rhodes Island for being worthy warriors. He then tells Frostnova to be careful with exerting herself, as her body is not in the best condition right now. She answers she knows and will now pursue Rhodes Island, as they need to be taken out for them to take over Lungmen. At the same time, Chen contacts Amiya. She says she's safe, but there is a big problem. When they were away, Reunion took over an important facility in Lungmen and forcefully opened the passage between the slums and the outer city. Lungmen is in danger. The final scene is Mephisto talking to Tallulah. He says that destruction was a success, and now they have an opening to flood Lungmen. He also mentions the old flag waver should reach Chernobog soon, and their victory is assured. He then asks Tallulah for orders, to which she answers it is time to turn this rotten city into ashes. This marks the end of this episode. Now the synopsis, sourced from the Arknights Terra Wiki. If you'd like to read it yourself, I'll leave the link down in the description. After returning to Rhodes Island's temporary headquarters in Lungmen, Calcid scolds the doctor for not taking care of Amiya, who is visibly shaken and forlorn after Misha's tragic death. Amiya goes for a walk in the slums to clear her head, where she sees Chen receiving a small teddy bear from a young girl. Amiya asks Chen what she's doing in the slums, but the other woman only says that she's taking care of Lungmen's business. Amiya later tells the doctor that this experience made her believe that despite their differences, Chen is not so different from Rhodes Island after all. Amiya regains some confidence in Rhodes Island's mission. Rhodes Island's scout team has found evidence of several reunion hideouts in Lungmen's residential district. However, when Amiya suggests another joint operation between RI and the LGD, Chen refuses, stating that an infected faction carrying out more missions in Lungmen will sow disorder. Meanwhile, 2 days after the failed rescue operation leading to Misha's death, Rhodes Island dispatches multiple reconnaissance teams to an abandoned city plate not far from Lungmen, which appeared in the aftermath of the Chernobog incident. Upon their arrival, they realize that the city has turned into a makeshift base for reunion after its destruction by the catastrophe. Nevertheless, they carry out their mission to search for survivors, explore the city, and gather intel for Rhodes Island. As the reconnaissance teams explore the abandoned plate, a team consisting of Meteorite, Jessica, and Frostleaf record a sudden and drastic drop in temperature. Frostleaf discovers thick frost covering the surrounding buildings and recognizes these as signs of a dangerous faction, the infamous Yeti Squadron that once wandered the northern Ursus tundra, rumored to have defeated Ursus' infected patrol forces many times in the past. Not much later, the three discover Mephisto and W within the ruins. The two leaders exchange pointed barbs before launching a surprise attack on the team, forcing them to retreat deeper into the ruins of the city to shake their pursuers. Jessica calls Amiya during the attack to call for backup, but Frostleaf insists that Amiya not come, lest she become trapped with them. Amiya convinces Chen to agree to another joint operation between RI and the LGD in order to rescue the recon team. Knowing that the recon team is in danger, RI and the LGD, including Chen and Hoshiguma, arrive at the abandoned city plate. Chen happens to see Tallulah shortly after landing and breaks off to chase her, leaving the rest of the team behind to be ambushed by Reunion. Amiya decides to go deeper into the Originium-dense zone of the city to find Chen and the recon team, while the LGD stays behind to guard the entrance to the zone. Amiya eventually finds Chen, who denies going after Tallulah and turns back to find her squad. RI then discovers Frostleaf hiding from Mephisto and his forces in a ruined building. Frostleaf shows Amiya that the cold spread by the Yetis has not only caused frostbite all over her body, but has also frozen over their communication devices, cutting off contact with Meteorite and Jessica. After clearing out Reunion forces, the team find Meteorite and Jessica, but the latter is completely despondent. Amiya manages to shake Jessica from her shell shock by seemingly directly manipulating Jessica's emotions. Frostleaf questions her after witnessing this, but Amiya asks her to keep it a secret from Dr. Calcid. Meanwhile, Mephisto continues taunting Rhodes Island loudly, setting buildings filled with corpses ablaze. Rhodes Island emerges and attacks Mephisto directly when a sudden chill fills the air. The Yeti Squadron arrives with their leader, the dreaded Frost Nova. Upon her arrival, the temperature drops sharply, and ice begins to form, extinguishing the blazes that Mephisto has ignited. Surmising that Frost Nova is draining all the heat from her surroundings and that they presently have no chance against her, Amiya immediately orders Rhodes Island to retreat. Frostleaf puts her life on the line to buy time for Rhodes Island to evacuate, but Meteorite comes to her rescue and bombards the area with her explosives. The team takes the opportunity to escape successfully. Speaking to a mysterious towering figure, Frostnova vows to go after Rhodes Island. Alright, that will be it for this story. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd appreciate if you'd subscribe to my channel or leave a like. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!